All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Strength Classroom, answering another subscriber question. And someone asked me, what's my opinion on unconventional training? And that question can be answered in so many different ways. But I'm going to start off with, let's say, unconventional implements.
I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shoot tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter.
Alright, so like I said, you can do unconventional rep ranges, sets, reps, how you organize your training frequency, but I'm going to stick to unconventional like training modalities, like the types of things you work out with. And I've come up with like 4 different things that, from a perspective of someone that's just in the gym, maybe has only ever done a typical bodybuilding split or powerlifting split, this might be considered unconventional to them. So number 1 is going to be the use of sandbags. Sandbags you can do so many different things with. You can do carries, you can do a clean and press, you can load it to your shoulder, you can throw it over your shoulder, you can squat with it, you can just do almost like a deadlift. I believe in strongman it's called a pick with an atlas stone, where you just kind of like bring it to your chest and then that's it. It's basically a sandbag deadlift. I've seen people do them with very heavy sandbags, and it can be worth it. Let's just put it that way. If you can pick up, let's say, anywhere from a 200-pound sandbag to 300-pound sandbag, deadlifts will feel like a joke, especially if it's around that. Now, what are sandbags good for? They're good for the core, they're good for the upper back, they're even good for building, let's say, your forearms and your bicep strength, and a little bit of your chest as well, because once you get it to your body, you're kind of actively having to squeeze. And when I do carries with them, because like every step I'm taking, you feel the sandbag kind of sinking ever so slightly, and you need to make sure that you're grabbing it super hard the whole way so that you can lengthen the amount of time or distance you're carrying the sandbag for. So unlike carrying, if you were to just carry a barbell on your back, that really wouldn't move as much as a sandbag. So the sandbag is almost, I want to say it's almost like a person in a way, where it's actively moving. The sand might be moving around a little bit depending on how loose or tight your sandbag is, so on and so forth. So that can work like your muscles in an unconventional way, where you're hitting your upper back, your core, it might be a little bit off balance, and that's what makes it different from a standard weighted carry. All right, next would be things done from a landmine. I started following this guy. It just came up in my YouTube recommended about a year and a half ago maybe, and I thought it was really interesting because the first couple of videos I saw about like landmine stuff, it was always people doing like cleans but with very, very low weight and saying they're good replacements for traditional cleans and snatches, and it made no sense to me. Sure, you might be able to do it with one arm. However, if you're doing it with such light weight, I don't see how there's any type of correlation to each other. If you're doing a 300-pound clean with a barbell and doing a 45-pound clean with a landmine, even though it's one arm, that's not going to translate the same way. So then I came across this thing called Landmine University, and all their stuff is really, really cool because I've never seen someone do cleans with a landmine, snatches with a landmine, all these exercises with a landmine. Then I started delving deeper and deeper and trying to get more proficient that way. And what I like, it's you do it with one arm, and it really simulates the position you might have to be in if you're either a wrestler or a BJJ, any type of grappling, just like getting low into that stance that you need. I'm a fan of sport-specific exercises to an extent, but not when it becomes so sport-specific. So this seems like sport-specific enough without it becoming like obnoxiously sport specific, where it's like you're just doing weighted drills, which you might as well just do drills for your sport that way. But I like how they're unilateral, so it allows you to work on both sides. I like how there's a little bit of, or a lot of core manipulation, where it's like bending to the side and having to like explode in a different plane instead of just front to back. It's almost like you're exploding in all the planes at once. And I'm not saying landmine cleans and snatches are superior to the traditional cleans and snatches. Like I said, it's unconventional. It's maybe something you never thought of, maybe something you've never seen, so it's worth it to try out. And then just using kettlebells in general. I think so many people, like the general population, have a pretty closed mind when it comes to kettlebells, but once again, I've come across people that are doing things with such freaking heavy kettlebells, like snatches and overhead presses and push presses and cleans and goblet squats and just all sorts of things you can name. And what I like doing with kettlebells is I like doing a lot of, let's say, offset work where It's like maybe you're doing a weighted carry and something is racked here and you're carrying it suitcase style, or vice versa, or overhead and clean. So you're able to mix it up. But what I like about kettlebells is they're, obviously you could tell just by looking at them, the weight distribution is totally different from a dumbbell. So if you're doing heavy kettlebell rows, the weight is all underneath your hand as opposed to on one side or the other. So it just gives your muscles and your body a slightly different stimulus, as opposed to if you always use dumbbells for dumbbell rows, it's gonna feel slightly different. Lastly are, I don't know, crawls or walks. So things like bear crawls, you can do them weighted. This is really, really beneficial for football players, really beneficial for wrestlers, BJJ athletes, all that stuff. And I like putting a weighted vest on just to make it a slightly more challenging in a way. The breathing component when you put on a 70-pound vest and then just try and crawl for 5 minutes, it's way harder than I thought it was gonna be, just because the vest kind of like restricts you a little bit. But don't feel the need just because you think these have to be done with body weight only. If that was the case, no one would do weighted calisthenics. So weighted crawls and weighted walks, or weighted, I don't even know what you want to call it, duck walk. Yeah, weighted walk. Those can be really, really beneficial to any type of athlete. You're moving your body around in a way, but when you add weight to it, your steps are going to be a little bit slower. Maybe the distance you're going is going to be a little bit less, but overall, it's very beneficial. So those are 4 things I would say that you can sprinkle into your program and then slowly make them a bigger part of your program. And I feel like you can manipulate these things to go into like any kind of program, no matter what your goal is. So you're just gonna have to manipulate the weight of it. But like I said, sandbags, landmine training, kettlebell training, and weighted walks and carries, those are my 4 favorite things when it comes to unconventional training. So the person that asked this, I hope that answered your question. If you like this video, like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great day.